Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football RPG. We're going over a live Dynasty rookie mock draft. We are joined by the Commish. Commish, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter or X at AskTheFFC. I'm also on Facebook. You can find me there too.
Sweet. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. This will be a lot of fun. I mean, the draft wrapped up about 8 seconds ago. Picks are already flying off the board in this rookie mock. We have Genty at the 101, Cam Ward at the 102, Omari and Hampton at the 103. Jake, why Cam Ward at the 102?
It's simply I'm not passing on the value of getting a quarterback, the first overall pick quarterback at the 102, especially with the way some of the landing spots fell out for a lot of these people. I don't love a lot of landing spots for a lot of people. So I'm just taking a guy that I know is going to, we talked about it when we did the episode on safe picks. He's going to hold the value for years, and I'm just not going to worry about it.
Very fair. We had FF Tyler O clock out, but we also know that he has a Q set because he is exceptional. And I need to turn the sound off so you guys don't hear that the whole time. Evan, thank you for the reminder.
Not a
was
problem,
me,
Mike.
I think, because I'm sharing. That's my bad. I apologize.
It happens.
People.
Yeah. But
I'll take the credit, though. Thank you very much.
Nice. How do you guys feel about the, top tier there? I know it's Cam Ward, first-round pick, Omari and Hampton, first-round pick, Tet McMillan, first-round pick. Like, there's all these first-round guys. Do we think that first tier break is at the 106, or do we think that bleeds in a little bit?
No, first tier breaks right after Hunter.
Okay.
I'm a little deeper. I think we don't have too much of a change from previous years. I still think that tier break kind of starts at the 1-8, 1-9. There's guys that were drafted here that personally, in that kind of 1-5 to 1-8 range that I wouldn't have taken. There's a few that I would throw in that range. So I do still think that tier goes deeper though.
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, it's right at 105, which is why I signed up for it. I knew there's 5 guys that I really, really want to get. I'd be getting one of them, and I ended up with Travis Hunter. So I'm pretty thrilled about that, although I do admit there's a lot of risk there.
That's very fair. I'm going to pause it real quick because I'm at the 112, and we just want to recap this first round. So beautiful. All the first-round guys, Genty, Ward, Hampton, McMillan, Hunter. And then we start seeing those second-round guys bleed in, Burden, Henderson, Judkins. I need to figure out how to pause this while talking. Everybody panic. Then we have
I'm going to panic.
Burden, Henderson, Judkins, Golden, and then back to some of those first-round players in Warren and Igbuka. Do we think we're going to get a discount on Igbuka because of the JSN parallels?
If we get
one,
one,
I just have one on them just because you got crowded, stacked receivers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nobody knows what's going on with Chris Godwin, right? So with that many mouths to feed, but I think it's a smash. You can get him at the end of the first round.
Very fair. All right, I'm going to unpause it because I think our draft is getting squirrely, but Colson Loveland's an easy pick for me here. It's between him and Jackson Dart. You can either take the top 10 tight end who in a Ben Johnson offense, I think he's going to eat Cole Kmet's lunch because Ben Johnson wouldn't have picked him without a plan.
Yeah, I was expecting Warren at that pick after as a Bears fan. I was expecting Warren there after Genty had gone, but Cole, if you look like most of the draft previews, the very common comparison for Colson Loveland as a player, one that I saw repeated was Sam Laporta. So if Ben Johnson felt the same way and he's getting his Sam Laporta there, it's just a no-brainer.
Yep.
This is really unfortunate for me because the 3 picks right there was exactly the 3 that I had queued up. It's very clearly a tier break for me here at the 202. I don't know. Do you guys disagree here?
Yeah, I think Harris is a fine pick there, but yeah, you lose the first round players, you lose some of those day 2 running backs, and now that's where people start picking their flavor. Do you want the day 2 wide receiver? Do you want the day 3 running backs? Do you want the mystery box quarterbacks?
Okay, so it auto-drafted me Milrow. The reason it did that is because I cannot sort by running back. It's just all in Superflex in here, so I couldn't find the guy I actually wanted, who was RJ Harvey at 205.
Ooh, Commish, I will give you
You just
an ethical dilemma.
You gotta type them in, David. Come on.
I'll give you an ethical dilemma. You want to let him have Harvey and then redo your pick?
That doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's just all for fun.
What a G. What an absolute delight. We're going to remove him.
Key right there. It's all for fun, you know?
Yeah. He's like, if this was for money, I'm taking it. But here, since I put you on the spot there, Kamish, after Harvey, Higgins, and then, I mean, Sanders, come on, Tyler, set that cue. But who were you thinking at the 2-7?
Yeah, I mean, really what I wanted to go is I wanted to go with receiver. I don't like the receivers that are here at this pick. You know, the top tight ends are already off the board. There's some that I like. I don't know if I'd be able to get them later. One that I really like in this spot would be Mason Taylor. He's a pretty good tight end, pretty good spot that he's landed in. You know, you hope that you get someone like Higgins or Harris to be able to fall to this spot. So, you know, with this pick here, I think that I'd probably go with Kyle Williams. So let's see if I can find him in here.
I love that. Here, I can probably find him real quick. And then I will assign him to you, and then we will
For some reason, I can't see the sort by position, but it's okay.
Yeah, I put it as all Superflex because I thought that would help, and it did not. But we are going back, cooking with gas. I love the Kyle Williams pick. I comped him to Rashid Shaheed in the pre-draft process, and anytime you can tie that with Drake May.
Yeah, he reminds me kind of like a young Tyler Lockett. I think he'll be really consistent. And if you're putting somebody in front of Drake May, he's going to want some consistency. Clearly, they're trying to load up because it doesn't appear that they're really happy with what they did the previous year. So loading up with guys like this, Kyle Williams, if he's somebody who can be reliable, I think from a PPR perspective, he should be a hit.
Yep. Love that.
I'm just happy you guys let me get 2 first-round quarterbacks, including one at the 202.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of Jackson Dart hate, and it's like every year we don't learn our lesson. We just refuse to acknowledge first-round capital and what it means. So
yeah, and funny enough, we were talking in the in-between media chat and like kind of making player comparisons. And I think that one of the best comparisons for Jackson Dart, especially when you factor in like their body types and everything like that, he's Bo Nix with a better arm. Like, are we shocked? Like Bo Nix went first last year, shocked us. Are we shocked that a similar archetype went first round this year? We shouldn't be, especially if you've watched enough of Jackson Dart's tape. Sure, he takes a lot of hits that he doesn't need to. He does some questionable things at times, but he gets to go to an offense with Malik Neighbors in it. Yeah, count me in.
Very fair.
The best benefit for Dart is he's basically going to redshirt his first year. He doesn't have to go in, so he gets a chance to learn. I think he's a quarterback that is going to benefit from that. Quite frankly, most of the quarterbacks in this draft will be able to benefit from a redshirt. It's not like the 2024 draft where you have elite right away.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that especially for this, you can stash him on taxi and has a real chance to be a surprise in his second year.
Yep. All right. First, I want to say hi, Joey. Thanks for listening. I had fun covering day 2 with you last night. But to recap the second round, we have Caleb Johnson, Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, Shadur Sanders, which, brother, if I have to hear about him anymore, I'm going to cry. RJ Harvey, Jaden Higgins, Kyle Williams, Tyler Shuck, Bashal Tootin, Jalen Milroe, Jack Besh, and then to close it out, I will take the day 3 running back that I believe in. I think Cam Skattebo, it's going to be a tough fight between him and Tyrone Tracy, but I would rather draft the running back in a dogfight for the top spot than some of the other players on the board right now.
I think those two complement each other well, Skattebo and Tracy. I think there's going to be enough touches to go around for both guys.
Just wish the offense was good.
Yeah, but at 212, you take that.
I got sniped really hard right there.
Yeah, Noel was my other option there. So Noel at 301, taking the Christian Kirk role from which was formerly known as the Tank Dell role, which was formerly known as useless in Houston.
My favorite part of this whole draft experience is just watching Evan's face every time I draft somebody.
I was just going to say, Mike, if we ever do this again, remind me to never get right behind Jake, because this has been an absolute nightmare every single time. Just the absolute worst. And for that, we're going to have a just throw for the moon and see what happens.
Oh, you jerk. Why am I on auto pick? Whatever.
Brother. Do you want me to pause it, or do you want
Whatever,
to
it's
turn it
fine.
off
None of
on
this
your
matters.
side?
None of this matters. just despair.
I do think Quinn Ewers is an interesting investment at this point, though.
Yeah,
we know
made of glass. Someone has to throw the ball, so yeah, I'll take it.
Exactly. Like, we know Tua is due for a concussion again. He may not know it. He may not remember that he's in Miami even at sometimes, but Quinn Ewers is probably going to see plays at some point in 2024, which is going to be an instant value spike. You can probably flip him for a second if you're worried about holding onto him long term. It's an easy one up for the next draft.
Kamish, did you want Arroyo there?
Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't realize it was. I'm sitting here looking at who I want to take, but that's okay. You can just keep on rolling if you want. I would probably have gone with Fannin there because I think that even though you've got Njoku still there, he's a good safety valve, and they're going to need it with the rookies that they're going to have, which whoever's going to start there, you assume probably Sanders. But getting someone like Fannin, maybe he's not a year one. Most tight ends, actually, especially this late, don't actually do a lot in their first year, but you want to taxi squad someone like Fannin. Assume that he's going to be able to rise and be really good for you the following year. Draft capital means a lot, so going in the 30s, that would be a good spot for him.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Here, I'm at the back end of the third. I'll pause it again so we can recap real quick. We got Jalen Knoll, Mason Taylor, Jaden Blue, Ollie Gordon, Quinn Ewers, Terrence Ferguson, Elijah Arroyo, Devin Neal, Jarquez Hunter, Isaiah Bond, and Isaac Tesla. It's interesting to see the day 2 receiver fall so far, but like, how many targets do we think Tesla's actually going to get?
It's a weird pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably assumes, what is it, the Quintez Cephas role? Like, he's the third wide receiver at best. You're not out targeting Amon-Ra consistently. Jameson's going to get his. Laporta's going to get his. Gibbs is going to get his. Monty's going to get his. Like, at best, you're talking about the 5th target on a team, and you're hoping that maybe they just don't bring Jameson back on a second contract, which is why I faded Tesla a bit there. Obviously, I like the day 2 capital, and parts of his profile are nice, but overall, it boils down to way too crowded of a room and no real chance to earn it. Whereas like Egbuka, I think he's going to earn consistent volume year 1. Plus, we got to remember that the Buccaneers have an out on Evans, or Evans' contract is up in 25. They have an out on the current Chris Godwin contract in 2 years. So it could be 1 year before we're seeing him as the true wide receiver 2. And in 2 years, he could be the true wide receiver 1 in that offense. But we also know they like to throw the ball. And I love Egbuka. So
that's fair. And to close out this round, I'm going to go ahead and take somebody who I like a little bit, but it's more that I don't like the other players that are there. I'm going to take Jordan James. I thought that Garendo was a combine warrior, and he was pretty good during his run last year, but I think that there's a real chance that Jordan James beats out Garendo for that backup role, and then Christian McCaffrey, 29, coming off of Ghost Achilles. I'll take the shot.
I like it.
This draft is absolutely killing me. But
did I do it again?
Yeah.
I love you.
Well, all right. So Harold Fenn at the 4-1. You guys know I'm a hater, but the draft capital and the opportunity, if they end up getting rid of him, Njoku is him. Like, there could be some issues there. Pat Bryant, Jake, why did you just draft worse Cortland Sutton?
Because Cortland Sutton's almost 30. And as we've previously talked about when we did other shows, when we're kind of all expecting Hampton to end up there, there's just not really many pass catchers of note in that offense. You have Devon Vele, who also is almost 30. You have Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. Like, you just don't have much of anything there in terms of pass catchers. So I think Brian is a guy who can step in day 1, earn targets, and maybe fully push Cortland Sutton out of Denver and make them not go, hey, 35-year-old or 30-year-old Cortland Sutton, let's give you another contract.
Yeah. That's fair. Guys, for all the good running backs we had in this draft, it got sad quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to throw 3 names out there. Damian Martinez, loved him, hate the landing spot, but he could be a surprise with trade rumors with Walker and Charbonnet. Horton, he's injured. If he comes back to full health, he's going to be a star. Both of them in the same spot. I'm going to go with a real surprise, which is the Corey Krosky-Merritt. People haven't seen his film. They got to take a look at it, especially 2023. This guy reminds me of a throwback like Matt Forte, going way back. Maybe I'm showing my age. But this guy could be a real surprise, and he's got a terrific landing spot because the Commanders' offense is fire.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to see more of him in 2024. He was dealing with some eligibility issues there. He went back to Arizona. They told him he could play, and they were like, actually, by the way, you can't. So now it's like he just wasted a whole year sitting there. If he had come out last year, there would have been some excitement.
I agree.
I think it's interesting. I think some of the literally the 7th round running back landing spots were better than most of the other landing spots we got for some guys. Like Monangai in Chicago, he can probably pretty easily step in day one as the goal line back. If they don't want to put DeAndre Swift in that role, it's pretty clear that they haven't loved what they've seen out of Roshan. When you look at LaQuint Allen, I think he can earn a role, which more speaks over how little I feel about Tank Bigsby and his upside there. Krosky-Merritt, like you said, in Washington, that room of running backs was consistently hurt. I don't imagine that changing. Phil Maffa, I personally don't think it's that hard to beat out Javonte Williams for touches. I feel like I could do it some days.
Yeah,
so he probably can too.
I don't know if Phil Maffa can. Like, that's probably the only rookie running back I don't believe in.
You got to beat out Javonte Williams for touches. It's not hard.
And Jaden Blue.
Fair.
Yeah. All right. So
you're making the argument I was going to use for Jaden Blue if he fell to me at 3-5, but I got sniped by Evan.
Yep. All right. Last pick in the draft. Chat, I am in between Kyle Monangai and Woody Marks.
I was about to say Woody Marks hasn't gone yet, and you're talking about a 4th round draft capital running back with Joe Mixon in front of him. Like, I was looking at that at my pick too, Mike.
Yep. No. So to recap the 4th round, we've got Harold Fannin, Pat Bryant, Dylan Sampson, Gunnar Helm, DJ Giddens, Will Howard, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Brashard Smith, Savion Williams on purpose, I hope, Damian Martinez, Torrey Horton, and Woody Marks. So 4th round, would you guys rather be taking shots on guys like Savion Williams and Torrey Horton or some of these running backs?
Running backs all day, every day. Wide receivers need talent and opportunity to succeed. Running backs, they just need opportunity. Talent gives them that opportunity time and time again, but it's such an injury-prone position that, you just need the guy to step in for a few weeks, get you some points during the season. In the 4th round, I'm not really expecting to get a guy that I'm going to be starting for 5 years. So I'll take the one who has the cleanest path to giving me fantasy points. That's almost always the running back.
Very fair.
I totally agree with that. Last year, I took Tyrone Tracy Jr. at 412. Clearly, it paid off. I did good by myself because I traded him in the offseason for a 2nd round pick. So sometimes timing is just everything. But I totally agree. You get running backs that you look at the opportunity, you look at talent, you look at opportunity. They do have a clearer path. Clearly, I did that because I was looking at JCM, taking him in the middle of this round, taking guys like that. And quite frankly, there are other players in here. Harold Fannin, whether you love him or don't, he's the most athletic guy. But anybody in the 4th round, you stash them on your taxi squad. That's what it's there for. And you're hopeful that they can either do something late or they're a year 2 candidate to break out. And I think you got a lot of them that are actually drafted in this 4th round.
Yeah,
agreed. And the only reason I went Pat Bryant over some of these running backs is I do think there is the opportunity for that immediate production out of him that you don't really get. Like we said, that wide receiver room really doesn't have a whole lot of talent in there. Whereas somebody like Savion Williams, he was the 2nd wide receiver drafted by this team that already had 6 wide receivers rotating in and out last year at times, to the point where Bo Melton had startable fantasy weeks at times. Like it's so just such a crowded room that I'm not taking that shot. Horton could see a role year 1. I don't see much of it, but again, it's just so hard. Like, even if he's the wide receiver 2 in the offense, he's got to earn the targets once they're there. And I just don't necessarily think he's got the skill set to do that. Whereas, as we've all kind of stated, you get 1 week where the guy's a starting running back, you could flip him for a round higher pick next year. If you get 3 to 4 weeks and he puts up semi-decent numbers, either that's points for you or you flip that for a 2nd in a couple of years or next year. So it's just the running backs always pretty consistently offer the easiest path to gaining value back on the pick versus wide receiver.
Yep. I will say we got a great comment in the chat. Sorry, I just completely covered you up, Commish. This is your Mike Wazowski moment. But Royals would be a fab pickup from here from Joey. How do we feel about Royals landing on the Chiefs? I know it's day 3 capital, but a lot of that skill set overlaps with what Rashee Rice does well. Do we think that he could have maybe a short-term option, and then if Rice is dealing with issues, like a longer-term one, or is just a day 3 receiver and we're sad?
You need multiple injuries in that offense for him to really get a shot that's worth anybody paying anything for him. Unfortunately, I mean, there's too many mouths to feed. You got 3 wide receivers, and you have running back that's still going to get fed a handful of targets, regardless of who's back there. That's just how the Chiefs tend to operate. You still got Kelce there on top of everything. There's just not enough attempts to go around.
If there is an offense you need a couple of injuries on, the 150-pound wide receiver, the guy that just tore his ACL, Hollywood Brown, and Travis Kelce at 90 years old, sounds like there might be a path.
I was going to say, I don't think – oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, I don't think the path to usefulness is as crowded as it seems in Kansas City, just because they already have a propensity to rotate guys in and out pretty consistently based off of what Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes want on the field for any given play. I mean, we saw times where Juju would have a great game and then be gone because his skill set didn't fit the matchup for 3 weeks. And then he'd come back and we'd all be like, oh, is next week the Juju week? We don't know. But a guy like that, like all it takes is one big game, especially if he was a fab pickup for you. One good game, you flip him for a 4th or a 3rd to a competitor, and it's a profit gain there. So again, it's just playing that game where it's like any of the, like there's quite a few guys that I think would be solid fab pickups here. I think Ayomanor is a really solid pickup here. Arian Smith, even to an extent, becomes a solid pickup option from the wide receiver position, just because again, like the paths aren't overly crowded.
I will not acknowledge Arian Smith as a real human, but Ayomanor just crushed my soul falling to day 3. The hit rate for day 3 running or wide receivers not that great. Jake, do you actually mind throwing that back up? Let's run through real quick, and then we'll call it a night. Favorite picks, best value on the board. Jake, we will start with you. What was your favorite pick?
Yeah, of mine especially, I think Jackson Dart at the 202. It's really hard to pass up a first-round quarterback when they fall to you in the 2nd round, especially just a couple of years after we had people using first-round capital on guys like Will Levis who are going in the 2nd. If we're talking overall between all players, I think Igbuka 1-1. I'm sticking at the higher end of the board here. I think him falling to 111 is blasphemy.
Yep, I know you love Igbuka. He was your wide receiver 1 in the class, but dude, Buccaneers crowded. David, who is your favorite pick?
My favorite pick of my teams, I really like Travis Hunter. I know the risk is obviously there, but he ends up on a really good team or not a really good team, but a team with a real quarterback and a team that's much better than the Cleveland Browns. Brian Thomas is there. That's going to scare some people off, but we know he's going to play wide receiver and he's going to play cornerback. We'll see how that split actually goes. But the potential to be a perennial top 10 guy is there. That's really all I can ask for at the 1-5. Overall, Devin Neal. I'm a big running back handcuff guy, if you didn't get that vibe already. Devin Neal, I think, is a pretty solid player. He was a 6th-round pick in this class. Comes out last year. He's probably like 3rd, 4th round. Alvin Kamara is not getting any younger. Kendre Miller, there's no reason to believe in him whatsoever. He has a real clear path to playing time, and if you get him like 3-8 late back then, I'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Evan, what about you?
Yeah, of my team, it's pretty hard for me to look at that, honestly, and see so many players that I just wanted Jake's team. But Jaden Blue would be the pick. Any Cowboys running back at this point has a chance to a path for relevance. And if he gets that path to relevance, I mean, we just saw what Rico Dowdle did last year. And Rico Dowdle is certified meh at football.
I will say Blue, he's really fast, but I don't know how good he is at football.
Look, I understand. We're going for a power swing, trying to hit a home run on a fastball that's up and in. So good luck turning on that to get it out of the park. But overall, Caleb Johnson is my overall best value that I'm looking at on this board. Look, getting him at the 2-1, getting him in the second round for a running back that is going to an offense that has significantly invested in the offensive line over the recent drafts, is a team that is highly, highly questionable at quarterback. I think everybody says right now it's going to be Rodgers. We'll see when that comes to fruition, if that comes to fruition. Right now, you're sitting with Will Howard getting a shot, which is crazy. Talk about, Mike.
If you told me that a year ago, I would have laughed at you.
So, yeah, they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. That is going to be this offense. 3 straight runs, 50 runs a game. That'd be great. Would love to see it. Go back to the Pittsburgh way of playing defense, chewing up the clock, and playing those, each team gets maybe 6 possessions a game type of games.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be Caleb Johnson for 30 carries for 60 yards and no touchdowns, and Jalen Warren 20 carries for 40 yards, also no touchdowns, but 3 catches. But
I will say comical when I was looking at my comps. I like to do comps for all these guys that come out in the draft. And Will Howard, my pro comp for him pre-draft was Mason Rudolph.
Yep, Mason Rudolph with like a little more wiggle.
And hasn't been hit in the head with his own helmet.
Yeah.
Right. Insert the Spider-Man. Right.
Yeah. The commission, what were your favorite picks? And also, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had fun. Tell us your favorite picks and also tell the people at home where to find you because they should all follow you on Twitter. You drop some good nuggets of knowledge there.
I appreciate that. Well, I would say for me, I'm a big running back guy. I always have been, very old school. So I have no problem with Travion in the first round. You saw one thing that's really interesting with the draft is you see a lot of teams are really focusing on building around their quarterbacks. You saw it hardcore with the Bears. You saw it with the Commanders. They did in the offseason in the draft, and you're definitely seeing it with the Patriots and bringing a guy like Travion. I think he has a skill set. I don't want to compare him to Jahmyr Gibbs and saying he's going to be exactly that, but I think he's got a skill set with an upside that could be. And again, JCM, there's a couple of guys in the 4th round that I called out before, which is Martinez and Horton. They're probably maybe a year, or they need some things to happen, but I think JCM has a real opportunity to get snaps right away. The only guys in front of them, Brian Robinson, who wasn't inspiring. You like his story, don't like his production. Austin Eckler, he's not getting any younger, and he also plays a little bit different of a skill set than Krosky Merritt, so I think that he's got a real path. And overall, there's a couple of picks that I really like. I mean, being able to get RJ Harvey in the middle of the 2nd round is great because you know they're going to be running the ball. They don't have a lot of other players, maybe some Estime mixing in there, but he's got a real opportunity. He reminds me of a young Austin Eckler, which was, obviously he was great for fantasy for quite a while. And I'll throw another one in there, which is a little bit wild, is Jalen Milroe. I think he's a real interesting prospect. I actually had him as my QB2 in this draft, which seems weird only because most of the quarterbacks I didn't see as franchise guys. I think Cam Ward is. Jalen Milroe, he could fizzle out. He could be like a Justin Fields and just can't, see defenses. But if they develop him the right way, he could become a Jalen Hurts. And if you're getting a guy like that you can put on your tag sheet, I think that's big.
Did you guys hear what he said? Sorry, I had to do it.
No, we love Justin Fields. But Mason Taylor with the Jets, I don't know how much of an immediate impact he's going to have, but it's a good pick, and I'm excited for you, Jake.
Thank you.
Real quick, Kamish, where can people find you? Because they should follow you, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And the best way to find me, you can find me on Twitter or X, whatever you call it these days, at Ask the FFC. Always on, so you can always get a hold of me. And during the season, I like to give live feedback. If you have questions about starting lineups, so you can come find me there. Happy to chat.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to definitely do this again. This was super rapid fire tonight. My favorite pick, it's got to be for me. I think Colson Loveland at the 112, like you just won your league. Now you're getting a top 10 tight end. It's going to have some value insulation there. And then I just believe in what Ben Johnson wants to do with him. I did have Warren over Loveland pre-draft, but I trust Ben Johnson more than I trust me. And I think it's going to work out pretty well. But looking at the whole board, guys, you can get the Browns starting quarterback on waivers right now. Just go get Dylan Gabriel. So that's kind of a joke, but I will say when you look at that starting lineup right now, that quarterback room is despicable, disgusting. We talked about Kenny Pickett as a super buy low, like get him to throw in for some fab or something. I don't know who's going to start, but I would take a swing on that for free. A real pick that happened, Evan, I really like the Trey Harris pick. I think there's going to be some people that really hate him and some people that really like him. I think he steps into an immediate role. He's better than playing Quentin Johnston playing the X immediately. He is better than Mike Williams at age 95 playing the X. Like, he's going to have a role where he's out there. He's a good run blocker. He's going to earn some, brownie points with Harbaugh there. When you combine those things with an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert, the touchdown upside is there. The excitement is there. And we'll find out very quickly if Trey Harris is good or Trey Harris is bad. You won't have to have that question, which we always run into in Dynasty. Is it the player or is it the quarterback? People are going to be holding A.D. Mitchell until the end of time because we don't know. You'll know with Trey Harris very quickly. But that does it for tonight's mock draft. You guys should all like and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Kamish, thank you so much for joining us. And Jake,
My pleasure.
I love Evan. Bye-bye.
I love Evan too.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the goblins get you.